We're going to call this meeting to order, the Senate Public Safety Committee. Thank you for being here at this early time. I know that some of you believe that we start all Public Safety Committee meetings at 0:30 because we get here early, and that is true. But it's also true that it's some of the only times we can actually get a committee room. So we appreciate y'all getting here earlier, and for all of us that are old crusty firemen and police officers, et cetera, we were up anyway. We have two bills on the calendar today, but let me give a little update on some of the other bills because I'm sure some of you are curious. We have heard testimony in subcommittee for two of the speed camera bills. We are working with the bill's authors as well as other folks, and it would be my intention for us to have those up in the full committee on Monday. We meet at 1 o'clock. If that changes, we'll let you know. As always, Mr. Will Spencer here next to me will publish an agenda in advance, as well as if we do have to make changes at either that or House Bill 61, which is now the Georgia Anti-Squatting Bill of 2025. We will send them out to committee members and certainly make them available to the public as quickly as we can. We don't like to surprise people, like give them enough time to vet that prior to getting to committee. So we have a few bills left. We still have 2 meetings left for this committee prior to making the cutover dates. And I just want to remind folks the schedule. In order for something to pass through the Senate, I know the House rules and Senate rules are a little different on this, we have to get it passed out before we gavel in on the 37th day. And that is so we have it's already passed. It would have to be second read on day 37 and then finally read on day 38. At the end of day 38, we set the calendar for the last 2 days in rules, which is days obviously 39 and 40. So I just want everybody to understand, but we do have 2 full committee meetings left. With that in mind, we've got 2 bills today that we're going to be looking at. The first one is House Bill 238 with my friend Representative and Chairman Lumsden. You are more than welcome to come to the microphone or to the podium to see the millions of people who are watching at home.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. I bring to you House Bill 238. This is a bill that authorizes the creation of a course of training at the Georgia Public Safety Training Center. We're working from LC 560301S. Purpose of the training course is to help first responders know how to deal with the folks that they encounter that have dementia or Alzheimer's related illnesses. The request comes from the Alzheimer's Association in conjunction with the Georgia Public Safety Training Center. And the reason the bill is needed is because there's an appropriation component to it. And as I understand that appropriation has been already provided for. And that's the reason for the bill. And I would greatly appreciate your consideration.
Thank you for your work on this. So I know there's a lot of people here today, and we purposely didn't put sign-up sheets because I don't think it's going to be controversial. I do want to help everybody in the future to make this process a little bit easier, though. I want to commend the bill's author for the great work he has done. In the future, we actually do not need to do legislation for training. We need to work directly with the 3 entities that drive that, and that is the Post Council, that is Firefighter Standards Training, and the Department of Public Health for EMS. By themselves, they can create training and ask GIPSTIC to then do that without necessarily a budget item nor even legislation. The work has already been done on this to do that, and I appreciate everybody's activism to make it happen. All the right reasons. I've got good news for you in the future, though. We can do this a lot simpler and without the law. So we are proud to move this forward for the Alzheimer's Association. My dear friend Paul Anger, he and I worked together many, many years ago. He lost his wife to Alzheimer's, and he spends a lot of time advocating. I meet with him multiple times a year. And certainly in honor of him and the countless families who've had to deal with this, I think that you're doing a lot of right things in order to help our first responders to care for them in the best way possible. So again, commend the author, but I also want to make sure everybody in the room knows that we want to make sure we do that process a little differently in the future, and I'm always happy to help you. Are there questions for committee members on House Bill 238? Seeing none, is there a motion from committee members? I see a motion from Vice Chairman Robertson. I've got a second from Senator Williams. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please say no. It passes unanimously. Congratulations. And who is carrying this legislation for you?
Senator Robertson.
Oh, that's a good one. Okay, well done. Thank you so much for your work on this. Okay, next up, House Bill 77. Representative and Chairman Franklin, why don't you come on down here?
Well, I'm not chairman yet.
Oh, you're not?
No, sir.
I thought you were chairman.
Yes, sir.
Oh, all right. Well, I might be fortuitous, so.
Well,
Wait, how did you vote yesterday on SB 68?
what's that?
Did you vote for or against Senate Bill 68?
I voted for it.
All right, well, I think your prospects are looking
Yeah,
good.
yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Might be
I
one
got a
available
good
soon.
year coming
You
up.
never know.
Yeah.
All right, please tell us about House Bill 77, and I want the committee members to notice that you do have a substitute from the original bill, and I just want to call that number out. That's LC 394665, and you can tell us why there's a substitute, Representative Franklin.
Yeah, I thank you for this opportunity. So, this bill actually went through the House, the Senate, and it was on the floor last year, but it just died for out of time that we didn't have to speak on it, which I'm actually kind of glad, because during that time I was able to talk to other associations, and we tweaked the bill a little bit, and I just learned more about this issue, really. So I really feel like we got a really good perfected bill here, but this bill came to me because my sheriff was having issues with with our local funeral procession in our area, my town, and from him, I got in touch with other sheriffs that were having other issues about it, and they were having concerns, and because of that, we basically had the sheriff's association endorsed it. But what was happening is that their deputies were facing a public safety issue where they were meeting oncoming traffic, and they were putting their deputies in danger as they were giving this possession to the final resting place of these individuals. But more into that, you had civilians that were being placed in danger too, because some of them were pulling over for these possessions that were coming, and some of them weren't, because when I was growing up, it was just the way that we were raised. Everybody just pulled over, and I remember when I was a child, some people would get out of the car, and to give that honor. But that's changing. The population's growing in Georgia, and so some people are still doing it. Some people are moving in that are not used to that and don't do it. And so it just needs to be clarified, really, because when some people are pulling over, some people aren't, it's just causing kind of confusion in that area. So that's what this bill does. It requires the ongoing traffic on 2-lane roads only, so rural and country roads, to be able to pull over for a funeral procession. And we chose that language so it wouldn't cause any issues and traffic buildup in other areas. And to provide that. And then as this bill we were talking about it, I talked to the Georgia Motor Trucking Associations. They've endorsed it. They've looked into it, and they put some language. That's why that substitute is in there. They just wanted to make sure that their truckers were safe, and I agreed with that language, and they endorsed it. And then I talked to, I don't know if the funeral directors has an association or not, but I talked to the funeral caucus, so to speak, pretty much everybody that's a funeral director in the General Assembly, and they're all for it. So anyway, that's the bill, Mr. Chairman. I'm happy to go into it and answer any questions you have.
Thank you, Representative Franklin. Couple of things. I do want to thank you for working with the Motor Trucking Association. They obviously came to see me as well. I see Mike Mitchell from the Sheriffs. I want to thank Department of Public Safety, Lieutenant, as well as the police chiefs for all coming together to make sure that we're all doing things the right way. And I need an official word from Rick Williams, as he is a resident expert in this. Senator Williams, do you have any comments on this bill?
It's a good bill.
All right.
Good bill.
Well, you heard it here first. Okay. Other questions to committee members?
Quick question.
I've got a question from Senator Bearden.
Reading the bill, so this only takes effect when it's being led by law enforcement?
That's it's law enforcement, or if the funeral director puts a flag or details in a flag or flashing lights, so in the beginning of it and the end. And that was around the discussion last year to make sure that it was very much defined when it begins and when it ends. Because some rural community, I didn't want to force the law enforcement, but I didn't want them to have to pay for it. That's the thing, because they have to pay the sheriff's department to be able to do it.
And other comment as well, I would like for you and I to follow up with Shavonda Leslie with the Department of Driver Services to make sure we're integrating this into all the driver services materials that we need for not just new drivers, but also as people are renewing online. I think these are the type of updates that people need to see, as you said, especially as folks move to Georgia who don't understand how we honor those who have passed. This is a great way to educate them. I've got Senator Williams first.
Yeah, if I could make a comment, the official color for strobes or flashing lights for a funeral procession is purple. So that is noted. It's not orange, red, blue, it's purple. And that's usually what is on the lead car of the funeral procession is a flashing purple light.
I got a couple more. Vice Chairman Robertson.
Yeah, and I guess this question would be to Chairman Williams. And sadly, I'm not really up to date with any latest changes to funeral processions, but flashing purple lights, no law enforcement vehicle in the front or rear or through intersections. In that case, does the procession have to follow all traffic laws?
Yes.
Okay, so they do not, they stop at all red lights, stay stationary until the light turns green, and then hopefully everybody can get through the intersection
And that's why the funeral procession is led in keeping everybody together. They don't do funeral processions in the metro area at all. I mean, it's too dangerous. But, you know, in rural Georgia and keeping everybody together and driving at a slow speed, normally we even have windshield stickers that says funeral that people will put on the inside of the windshield, so it is a fluorescent orange, so it is visible. But it is a safety issue, and knock on wood, in my 50 years, we've never had an automobile accident in any funeral procession I've ever led.
We do them in Roswell, Georgia still, I'll tell you that. You got a question from Senator Goodman.
Really a comment, Mr. Chairman, but, you know, this, my brother-in-law is in the Air Force, and he's been stationed all over the country. And what we do here in the South, they don't do everywhere. And it's something that I'm very proud of that we do in the South, how we honor our dead and pulling off the road and everything. And I think it's something that's unique to our culture in the South, and it's something that I hope that we never lose. And at the appropriate time, I'd like to make a motion to pass on this bill.
Well, are there any other questions from the committee members? I think it's an appropriate time, Senator.
All right, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to pass, please, on LC 394765S.
I got a motion. Do I have a second? Second. I've got multiple seconds, but I think Senator Jackson was first. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All opposed, please say no. Passed unanimously, and I've got a sneaky suspicion who might be carrying this bill.
That's right. Senator McWilliams is.
All right, I thought that might be the case. Very good. Thank you. All right, so Senator Vice Chairman Robertson is here. I'm going to put him on the spot for a moment because he very thoroughly and graciously chaired a subcommittee on speed cameras. And again, I want to mention to everybody, we didn't just start those early because we wanted to. That was the time we could get this room for multiple hours. Do you want to give us just a brief update on what you heard?
Yeah, I'm gonna try to pull it up here real quick.
All right, we'll give him a second. And again, for those that came in a little bit later, we'll be working through those two bills as well as House Bill 61, which is the Georgia Anti-Squatter Act of 2025. We had some Scrivener errors on that bill and some wrong code sections, and rather than trying to get them out at the last minute, we wanted to make sure we gave all the committee members the opportunity to get that ahead of time. So we will make sure the updates are to you as soon as possible, but my goal will be to get you them with plenty of time for you to thoroughly vet them before we have a committee meeting. Senator Robertson.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chair. And again, I appreciate your trust in me, and you're exactly right. And I will be, I know shockingly to everybody, I will be somewhat grumpy about the fact that we had to do that the smartest thing to do was to do a 6 a.m. subcommittee meeting, and to tell you the necessity of it, that meeting lasted 3 hours. And we did some deep dives and looked at this the way I think 90% of the legislation that comes through either side should be vetted. But part of that reason is our good friends over in the House could not make a decision. So they sent both pieces of legislation over here. And we, as what we do over here, we took it and we dealt with it. And because of that, I've received, I've been approached by 3 different individuals who said they are working on committee sub-language. And I told them I greatly appreciated that. All hands on deck is not necessarily a bad thing. But some of the brief recommendations that we've gotten out of the subcommittee so far is that all contracts related to funding and hours of operation should be the responsibility of municipal and county governments, not state government. All revenue brought in by these systems, and I'm referring to them as a school zone speed management system. Instead of trying to divide them up into all these different entities, to leave that responsibility up to state and local local municipal and county governments. All citations created by school zone management systems must be mailed within 7 days and clearly stated how citizens may challenge those citations within their local courts. All new management systems should only be allowed to issue warnings for the first 30 days of operations. Any data collected by those systems from any non-violator citizens should immediately be purged from any databases owned by the contractor or a subcontractor of the vendor. Flashing lights should be attached to all school zone management system equipment and be fully operational during the hours in which the school zone system is in operation. And all systems must be accompanied by digital signs that display a driver's speed during the operation hours. Those were a few that we had. But the other thing I want to point out too is we had a 6 a.m. subcommittee hearing. The first person to testify was a House member and who had been over there for a very long time. And he was absolutely shocked that we had a full subcommittee there at 6 a.m. We had a room full of witnesses here to include the Department of Public Safety and the Department of Transportation. And I think it was just a reflection on how serious public safety, the Public Safety Committee, under the leadership of Chairman Albers, takes our responsibilities when it comes to addressing public safety in Georgia. And I think it's a reflection on every member of this committee on how important it is, I think, for each of us to be on this committee and do the job that we are tasked to do. And Mr. Chairman, again, I'm honored and I greatly appreciate your friendship, but I appreciate your leadership and trusting me and allowing me to chair that subcommittee.
Thank you to our Majority Whip for the great work he always does in any piece of legislation. As a follow-up on that, if there are committee members that have any other thoughts or suggestions, please get those to myself and Senator Robertson right away. We will be looking at what our path forward will be, working with some of our folks on the second floor, as you might imagine. But we will work on that for Monday. Are there any further discussions from the committee members?
I would be remiss if I didn't recognize Representative Dale Washburn and thank him for his passion when it comes to this subject. I normally don't get news out of Macon, down in Columbus in that area, because no offense, but we just don't think about Macon that much down there, especially when it comes to baseball, hockey, and other sports. But I really appreciate the way you dove into this and ran with it the way you did, and I'm glad to say that we're classmates, came in together, and you've always been a good friend, and I appreciate you.
Well done. Okay. Anything else from members of the committee or folks in the audience? We have a celebrity in the back. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Homer Bryson. Glad to have him. All right, seeing none, this meeting of the Senate Public Safety Committee is hereby adjourned.